Hey, what's up guys? It's Nick Davenport here, and we have a special guest today at the Brain Range. We have Eddie Gallagher, ex-Navy SEAL, tactical instructor, and just overall great guy. We'll be doing different cognitive tasks using airsoft guns. No live ammunition will be used in any of these scenes. So the first drill we do is a baseline test. It's simple reaction. That means we're gonna see the light come on and shoot. Then we're gonna do some different tasks to see how we can think when there's extra variables. So it's gonna be 12 different lights that come on any of the 4 targets. So it begins with a countdown like a traffic light, red, yellow, green. After green, it begins. All the target lights will be blue. So once you shoot it, it'll go off and it'll come on any of those 4 targets. Time. He got 12 out of 12 and his reaction time was 0.993 seconds. So typically I want to see at least under 2 seconds. He doubled that, double as fast. I ain't surprised at all. So sub 1 is where elite level shooters, so I'm not surprised you got that. And if you saw how relaxed and calm and poised he was, a lot of times people come in here when they just want to go, but you're just in the moment. And that's the beauty of these drills I like, because even though, like I say, it's not live, it simulates the fact that you still gotta be in that moment and be in real time focusing.
It's a good drill, like obviously when you're switching targets, a lot of people tend to, they rush over to the next target. Once you see with your eyes, your gun will follow. So you just track it with your eye, the gun's gonna follow nice and calm and smooth. You're not really wasting any time, you're not gonna extend that time any longer, but people think you have to make these jerky movements when actually that's taking you a lot longer. So it's front sight focus. When I switch over to target, I make sure my front sight is focused on there and I pull the trigger. As long as you have the proper mechanics, grip, and are applying all the fundamentals to shooting a pistol, you should hit.
The reaction time was 1:2:04. Not terrible, I want sub 2. All right, one more at the baseline.
Oh, damn, son.
.109. You came back though, see the beauty is, we talked about this yesterday too, recoverability. We did it with the Stroop task, with the movement, now we're doing it with the tactical, because you were averaging, when you missed those few, 1.3, but you picked it up, so you finished with 1.09, meaning that means every shot after that was like 0.9 range for you to average lower. You know, with my task, a lot of people get discouraged in mind, they start getting lazy at the end, like, oh, whatever, I messed up. But he did opposite, he got better. Stay in it. Time. Good job, because when you miss, you got a lot out of it, but you was at 1.6. You finished 1.24. So the next one's gonna require a little bit of memory, but still pretty simple. All 4 lights are gonna come on simultaneously. So it's gonna start with a countdown. So they all 4 come on, shoot them in that order. Red, yellow, green, blue.
Red, yellow, green, blue.
We wanna see the difference between the baseline time with just simple reaction and this. For this drill, about no more than a 2.5 second gap. That's pretty much a good parameter to be in. 3 different sequences of the 4 light setup. So 12 total lights once again.
So once you hit all 4, is it
the next sequence will come on, yes.
Okay.
So it'll change position too, so you won't know where it'll be the next setup. Red, yellow, green, blue. Time, 3.56.
Get better than that. I'm doing that again.
5, 6.
I'm getting them yellow and green almost look the same.
So calm down.
Nice.
Time, 3.247. Time, 3.45.
Nice.
3,247. Out of 17 rounds, you only shot 13. And he shot 16. Would you take that in consideration, or would it be like?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to go for accuracy, right? Because especially when you're shooting in confined spaces, and depending on what your job is, right? Like ours, if you do hostage rescue or whatever, accuracy is the top, because homeboy could have the hostage.
Yeah.
You're taking that shot, you're having to hit
Inch
right
off.
here. But if it's not, if it's just bad dudes with guns,
Yeah, it's like, get him down.
I'm dumping, and that's the reality, right? Like when you go into a room and you have to shoot a bad guy with a gun, I'm not just bang.
Exactly.
I'm dumping like half the mag into him, because you're like, I'm gonna make sure he's down. At this distance, I'm able to, if the person's over there and I'm here and I feel like they're threatening my life, the first thing I can do is I can get out of the situation, right? Which is what you should do all the time. But then obviously if they start coming at you, that's about, I'd say 7 to 10 feet is where I'm like, okay, like I'm pulling my
And that's
pistol.
that line
but
up there.
That's
So-
where the mechanics come into play, with drawing the pistol and being comfortable with that, because it only takes me from here. And if you go to, like, say you had to conceal, right? I'm right there. You're in a situation where now you're drawn out. So drills before, like, guys are just sprinting over to them, right? So to me, I'm like, dude, you don't want to turn your back to the target, right? So I'm here, I engage red, and then I have like yellow. I can, like, there's nothing wrong if I get confused. Like, I can just glance real quick, move back, engage.
So on this drill, we're doing some agility work where you have to move to the target. So if the light comes on red, you get into the red cone or the blue cone, etc. The goal of this is to stay square down range. You don't want to cross over, end over, end as you're moving. You want to be in a straight line to where you're going. You want to get to the cone first before you take your shot. So you have to move, find your sights, take the shot, and wait for the next light.
If you do have to engage multiple targets, right, and I have to switch over to here, like if someone comes out, or here, my foot placement like this is impeding me going all the way around. Now, if I have it straight, just like this, I can still swing here, and I got more movement this way. Remember where the cone is, and then the proper mechanics to get into that cone. That's a good drill though. Where am I going next? You're shooting with other people, right? So like me and you were engaging together, or if you're going up, I'm seeing you out of my peripheral, and I'm gonna match your speed, so we're still on line. Or if you're slowing down, I might slow down just so I know where you are at all times, especially in tight rooms. That's like where it gets real unsafe. We have a saying in the teams, like, calm breeds calm, right? If there's no reason for me to like sprint up, it's like, just do it nice and smooth. You got guys behind you that'll send the energy down the train, like, all right, everything, like, it's still cool. But if you end up, and I see this all the time, the number one guy like bolts into the room, that's sending the train down. Everyone's like, oh shit, and that's where mistakes get made. This is definitely a good thing to practice for sure, especially if before you go do live fire. I think I would do warm-up drills in here doing this, and then once you go to live fire, at least you have the mechanics and like the footwork down. You'll probably have to slow it down just a little bit on live fire, just to be like, all right, because now you're dealing with recoil and everything.
Exactly.
But you're not having to think about anything else. Smooth is fast, fast is smooth, yeah. Another thing about this drill too, right, it's what I'm thinking of now is, you have those shooters, like the professional shooters that go out there and do competition shoots. And those dudes are just like, bing, 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 right? That's awesome. But when you're talking about tactical training or combat training, you're accountable for every round that comes out of your gun. So this forces you, especially when those lights turn on, right? And you saw, like I did it too, you're automatically switching to it, and you're like, oh, I got to move to that other light. Well, that keeps you from engaging right away, and that makes you mentally like, hey, yeah, you can have your finger pressed on that trigger, but is that the right target? And it makes you think, and that'll help with law enforcement too, as they do in these CQC.
So guys, thanks for checking us out. Eddie did a great job, so did Phil. So you see with these drills, it challenges the part of the brain that deals with impulse control, decision making, and handling emotions and regulation in real time. Obviously this doesn't exactly transfer, but at least you can work the fundamentals and your emotional state, so when you mess up here. So Eddie, what do you think overall of what we did?
Definitely have a huge benefit, especially for the tactical side, law enforcement, SWAT teams. It really exercises that cognitive flexibility, right? Because you got to determine not only the color that you're shooting, but where you got to move, and you got to memorize where those different colors are. Think cognitively under stress, and then also to be able to ramp up and ramp down when you need to, right? Because you have these different targets coming up in front of your face, and you can't engage them, even though you're switching over to them. So you have to actually think like, nope, that's not the target, and then move to the next one. These drills I would use on any range.
So where could they find you on social media or at your facility? I know you have your range up in the...
So Instagram is Eddie_Gallagher. And then I also have a website, theeddiegallagher.com, where you can sign up for, I do anything from basic to advanced pistol rifle shooting, CQC, medical training, home defense, and then also some physical training if you're interested in that.
This concept's called the Brain Range, so look that up on Instagram. Also, the Brain Range. You can see more drills you can do at home with dry fire, so you don't have to have the fancy fit light equipment. And thanks for tuning in, guys, and peace. Delete that.